50 million records sold worldwide and a new album, Catfish Rising, Jethro Tull is poised to continue putting its unique mark on the music world. The man who is nearly synonymous with the band and who many people think is Jethro Tull is in fact lead singer Ian Anderson, and he joins us today. Welcome, Ian.
Well, thank you very much.
You gave me that look when I said that about the old men. Indeed, when we were all kids and looking at the record cover, it was a unique statement, that whole Aqualung song. It really was a kidney punch kind of a message that you were sending in rock. Where did you get the inspiration for that hard driving sound that you developed with Jethro Tull?
Well, the hard driving sound is only a part of what we do. Jethro Tull actually in Europe is probably known at least as much for the more gentle, the more acoustic, the more ethnic sort of thing, you know, with mandolins and acoustic guitars, and I mean flutes and drums for that matter are really acoustic instruments. Over here I think it's been more of the rock side of the music that caught the public's attention, but even classic songs like Aqualung still comprises in substantial part, you know, some acoustic music. So it's been trying to put those two things together and not just be in that one-dimensional kind of rather static rock band format that I think has kept us sufficiently interesting over the years. But I was smiling when you made the reference to looking like old men on our first album cover, but and of course we have now, it is now full circle. We now actually look just about the age we did on that first album cover. But not as old as some other people. I mean, I saw a photograph of the Moody Blues in a magazine I was reading in your green room, and I mean, they really, I mean, we're talking old there, you know.
And we had Alice Cooper, who continues to shock the world with his music as well.
He of the runny makeup, yes. that must be tricky first thing in the morning.
Yeah, especially at this time of the day, absolutely. Now, when I said earlier we were going to talk with Jethro Tull, they said, well, how is he? What's he up to these days? You must get that a lot, continuously.
Well, I do, yes. I was on the phone when I got up at the crack of dawn back to England to speak to Mrs. Tull. And now, I'm used to it, but she hates it. You know, somebody says, as occasionally people will in America, you know, hey, Mrs. Tull, then she gets, you know, rightfully quite upset about it. It's thoroughly embarrassing, actually, having the name of somebody who was a real person. And it was not a name of our invention. It was one of the many names our agent gave us in the early days. And on more or less a weekly basis, we would change our name. It was the only way we could get rebooked in the clubs, was to pretend to be somebody different. So we just happened to be Jethro Tull that particular week that we got asked to play the residency at the Marquee Club, which was the famous starting point for most groups. You know, most of the English bands at some point had their big break there. And
it caught on. Now, I want you to do something for me. We have a cut from Aqualung, we have the cut, and we also have a cut from your new album, Catfish Rising. Let's listen first to Aqualung.
Sitting on the park bench,
all right, that's the famous anthem, as many of us live by it. Back when it was released, it has that edge that we were talking about earlier. Now let's listen to the second cut, which is from Catfish Rising, your next and greatest album. It seems to me Jethro Tull has not lost its edge.
Well, no, but you have focused conveniently on the sort of noisy rock and roll bits. I mean,
maybe it's because I like that part
of it.
Well,
you know, at your age, you have to cling on to these things, because you're no spring chicken either, babe.
Absolutely not. You know, I do enjoy that heavy metal side, and I do remember listening to your entire album cut. In fact, the Moody Blues did a lot of this symphonic kind of thing, and they mixed, like you did, with the flute. That was, at the time, when you did that was an unusual move, was it not?
Well, it was unusual. It was also a bit desperate, because people were looking for some new musical ideas, and things got a little bit weighty, a little bit too arty back then. So, I mean, the whole punk thing, when that came along in the mid to late 70s, was a breath of fresh air, which I think was resented by people like us at the time. But looking back on it, I mean, with groups like the Ramones, who have a 17-year history as a group, against Jethro Tull with a 23-year history, the difference between Jethro Tull as one of those progressive rock groups, and rather an arty one at that point in time, and the Ramones, a classic, the punk band, really, of all time, I mean, we're all musical dinosaurs in terms of, 17 years, 23 years, who's counting? It was all way back there. But they're still out, today playing their music with just, as far as I'm aware, as much credibility as they ever had, and hopefully we are too.
As are you. You're starting a new tour. Tell us about that quickly.
Well, we've just come back from a crazy tour of Eastern Bloc countries, of East Germany, of Czechoslovakia, Russia, and places. The last concert we played was in Tallinn in Estonia about 4 weeks ago. So it's very strange watching it on the news in the context of recent events. But we go back to do the new album sort of